The glory days of Trans Am, arguably the best sedan racing the planet has ever seen. You had all three manufacturers throwing all sorts of money at the game. You had some of the best teams out there. Shelby was involved, Bud Moore was involved, Penske was involved, as well as Dan Gurney. You also had some of the greatest drivers, if you remember the footage, sawing at the wheel. Well, what happened in 66 and 7 was Ford's turn to dominate. 68 and 9, it was Chevy's turn with the Donahue Penske car. Well, Ford hated it. In 69, they tried really making a stab. They got Carcraft involved and they built the first Boss cars. They were actually R-Code cars, which were Cobra Jet cars. Well, in 1970, with money for only one team, Bud Moore got the nod. Shelby was out the door. Bud Moore had the best drivers in Fulmer and Parnelli Jones, and he also had the best equipment in 1970. The Boss 302 proved to be the motor to beat, making 450 horsepower. With those drivers, they just absolutely dominated. They won 6 races. They came in second in 5 races, and in 4 races, they finished third. Parnelli Jones had this adage that if you weren't out of control, you weren't driving hard enough. He won 5 of those 6 races. It was in a car just like this, built by Carcraft, that caused Ford to win the championship in 1970, and probably the most famous year with all 3 manufacturers at the height of the Trans Am series. Well, the problem with most vintage race cars or most vintage racers is they want to go as fast as possible. The beauty of this restoration, it is so period. The car probably isn't going to be the fastest car on the racetrack, but it's authentic to the way the car raced in 1970. You've got the Bud Moore mini plenum. You've got the valve covers with the oil fillers. You've got the correct speckle paint in here. You've got the original style flares, and of course you've got the school bus yellow, which made Bud Moore famous, or the cars famous at least. You've got the interior, which was very Spartan. The roll cage was fairly substantial for back in the day. If you look underneath the car, it's got the original style leaf springs. You've got all the original panhard bar. You got the front springs. You got the A-arms, which have been relocated properly. You've got the upper control arms that have also been reworked. The camber curve is just right. You've got the mini light wheels and of course the Goodyear tires. The beauty of this restoration, it is so period, it is so correct that obviously this car is going to bring a lot of money at auction, and that's exactly what happened with this car. It was one of the leftover Bud Moore cars. It was beautifully restored and it brought over $350,000 at Monterey a couple years back. The car sits now in a fabulous collection, and it'll probably see the track every once in a while.